Well, welcome to another episode of True Talk. I'm your host, Pastor Luke Stewart, Wiradjuri Ngā man, and I'm so proud and glad to be here. And we're coming to you from the countries of the Yagara and the Turrbal people here in South Queensland. Our opening Bible verse today is found in the book of Corinthians, 2 Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 20. And the Bible reads, "Now then, we are ambassadors for Christ, as though God were pleading through us. We implore you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God." And it's a fitting Bible verse for us today as we welcome our guest for today's podcast. Javier, how are you, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. How you going?
Yeah, really good. I'm so glad you could be here with us on True Talk. And yeah, we get an opportunity to hear your deadly story, and also some of the things that you're doing and we're also doing together, some of the plans we have. But yeah, look, welcome to True Talk. I know our listeners and our viewers are really excited to listen to what we're going to share, what we're going to talk about. So Javier, please tell us about yourself, who you are, where you're from, what's your mob.
Oh, first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for having me here on True Talk. It's an honor to be here and a privilege to be able to actually share my story. I'm just, very grateful for the invitation that you've extended today. Thank you.
Absolutely, and so are we.
So I'd just like to start off on my story. I'm 26 years old, born in Ipswich. I've lived there all my life. I'm a Yagara man, and I'm also a Christian. On my mum's side, my grandfather, he came from Italy when he was 2 years old, and her mum was white Australian. And so my grandfather, he was a Catholic, and my grandma, or my nan from my mum's side, she's Seventh-day Adventist, and you go to church with her.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, yes.
So my mum, she's a believer of God, and she, I think she takes mostly on Seventh-day Adventist beliefs, through her mum's side. And then from my dad, both his parents, Yagara born, Ipswich, and so I descend from Yagara here where we are meeting today.
Yeah, wow, it's awesome. Yeah, it's such a privilege to work with you and even to work alongside each other, really, as we do some things in our community. So what were some of the moments or experience in your life that you look back that have inspired you to be the person you are today?
Oh, big question.
It's a loaded question, right?
There's one big moment I can really remember that's just keep calling out to me right now. And when I remember I was actually 13, about to turn 14, September holidays. We went to the big camp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a night session to go do some prayer together and singing together with all the kids, the youth or teenage youth session. And I always believed in God and took it seriously when it mattered. But when I got around all the other kids that kind of were always going to church and had parents that both believed in God and had really strong church background, I kind of felt like out of place a little bit. And also being a black fella too. So when I got just with the kids, I didn't take it as serious. And I remember being with my younger sister and just thinking, I'll just have a bit of fun with this, sing as loud as I can. And I love singing. So it wasn't a big deal for me. And I just sung as hard as I could. And in that moment, I felt like God himself had just placed his hand on my heart. I felt so warm. I was just remember looking around and just feeling connected with everyone there. Wow. With all the kids, and just being like, yeah, no, this is real. This is real to me. And that was God's first calling, big true calling to me, where he really touched me. Yeah.
Wow, that's a solid story, man, about that experience and that emotion that you felt, that connection with God at one of our big camps.
Yeah.
We're just about to have our big camp too.
Coming up
in September.
Yeah.
And I know we've given you an invitation to be there as well. Bro, that's deadly, man. That's an awesome An awesome story to share. So what you and I have connected for a good couple of months now. We're planning on a couple of projects together. But what do you currently do now? I know you have your physical job, but then you've also got this cultural desire of sharing culture. Talk about what you're doing.
So just recently, with my sister, trying to start up a new business, and we're going to call that Yagara Cultural Services.
Nice.
So we're going to offer cultural services on our country, in Yagara country, mostly probably Ipswich based because that's where we live in that. And so what we do is we're going around and doing a lot of work in the countries and seeing mostly schools and PDAs for workplaces kind of thing too, professional development, and just getting them enriched in good culture and traditional values too, and teaching them why we do welcome to country.
Yeah, right.
And so not only that, on the other side, we also offer dancing and stuff like that too. And Dad does singing and that. We do classes, so I do teaching and stuff at different schools all around Ipswich. And hopefully, going to extend that out and take on some more so I can, let go of the physical work that I do, the labouring, and take more on a cultural side because that's, where my heart is really.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's real. And I know we're looking forward to the things that we're partnering up together with the Adventist school system, and the role that you play at the advisory level and also at the on the ground level, and your expertise there. Javier, talk to me about welcome to countries and acknowledgement to countries. There's a lot of talk in the media today about do we need them? As two Aboriginal people here, we know that we know the reason and the respect behind it. But perhaps we've got some listeners here that maybe don't have the full understanding of the significance of these ceremonies. And so, from your perspective, what is it about an acknowledgement or a welcome to country, and then also what's the difference between the two?
Oh, first of all, just say it's very important, to have these practices. To here in Australia, we understand that there has been many, many years of a continuing culture before the colonial settlement. So, in my belief, the significance of doing this welcome is as important as saying grace before having a meal. The reasons why I say that is because when we have grace, the big reason is to remind ourselves to be servants of God, that we are dependent, we're blessing that food to become more holy before Him, and food for our thought too, saying grace is like tradition. They've done it for how many years with Jesus, after Jesus. And for those families that do, really get in there and say grace, that they connect on a level that other families are missing out on, that don't get to share that experience. The whole point is to shift the focus to the spiritual dimension, elevating what's seen as a fundamental human activity to a higher level so that we're actually acknowledging God and that connection that we're making to Him.
Bro, that's probably the deepest meaning I've ever heard about the significance of welcomes and acknowledgements to country. It takes it to a whole new level of respect and a whole new level of significance. That can be lost in the sense of just a ceremony, hey? Like something we just have to do for the sake of doing it.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Continue on.
Yeah, well, like you're saying, like it's not something that we just do. Yeah, there's that deeper spiritual meaning to it. And like saying grace, it's to remember that God provides. And the welcome to country, that's like the same as remembering that God provided the land. He provides us with everything we need as long as we take care of that land, He'll continue providing. We'll have the animals, the leaves, the fresh, water, everything we'll need, as long as we continue to can maintain that connection to God.
One of the things that I've always been taught growing up was a lot of the times we don't listen to country. We don't listen for that connection. We're so busy. We're so career motivated, and driven. And that a lot of the times, and you've got stories in your lineage, in your line, and we've got stories, and those stories came to us because a lot of the times our ancestors just stopped and listened to that connection. And I guess that's what we're being welcomed into, isn't it? Is that connection to that country, the respect for the land that God has given to us to look after, hey?
It's it's easy to forget when you're living in the big city, I guess. And on that, it's countering materialism. Remembering, like I said, remembering that God provided for us. So having that welcome to country is a moment for us to not take for granted the beautiful land, the beautiful country that we have here. The bountifulness.
Yeah, that's it, eh? So maybe we've got some, pardon me, maybe we've got some viewers here that don't know the difference between a welcome to country and an acknowledgement. I'll get it out.
Yeah.
An acknowledgement to country. Walk through some of the differences that are between the two.
Oh, well, I'll just go back to actually more about myself on this point, because being a Yagara man, for example, that means I have the right to do welcome to countries on Yagara country. And from my grandmother's side, I just actually she descends from two kings. So she has two great grandfathers. That one's King Bungary and the other one would have been King Jackie Jackie.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, Bungary, he was from the Yuron clan. So in Yoronga. Yeah, and Yuron means sand, and Pan, that means family. So Yuron family clan. Yeah.
Mate, this is awesome.
Yeah. So that's just from my grandmother's side around the Brisbane area. And for my grandfather's side, his ancestor, King Billy Turner. Yeah. His great-grandfather. And he was, acknowledged and recognised as a king back in his time as well. And he was from the Gatton area, and their tribe was like Gadigal. So that's where the Gatton got their name.
Okay.
Yeah. Same as Yoronga got the name from Yorongpan.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So because I descend only from certain areas on country, that I only prefer to, do welcome to countries from where my family are from, because there were many other clans in here, in Yagara, on the country too. And it wouldn't be right for me to do the welcome to country there on their land, where if I was there, I would do myself an acknowledgement, even in my own country of Yagara, just because I don't particularly descend from there. And even when I travel, I try to use the dialect from the area that was used. Yeah. So I change the words used. So here in Brisbane, we use different dialect, whereas in Gatton, it was more of a dialect that I grew up with. Yeah.
Mate, that's a rich connection. You only get that from a connection and that lived connection, hey? Yeah, that's powerful. So continue on and talk about the difference between perhaps an acknowledgement to country then.
Yeah, so on a deeper level, or the acknowledgement, like I was saying, it just should be done by anyone, can be done by anyone, and it's just to acknowledge. And the welcome is the same. It's also to acknowledge. And on a deeper level, they're done to express gratitude for the land, like I was saying earlier, how bountiful it is, that it is a gift to us and for all of us from God.
That's powerful.
Like I was saying earlier, it's, and acknowledge how we as people have dependence, on our continual survival from the land. If God had not provided a means of survival, we wouldn't be here today, sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so there's a deeper story, hey? Yeah.
So when I do welcomes, it's important to, let everyone know it's a reminder to have gratitude towards the gift that we are given.
Yeah, wow, that's powerful. So anyone, and I guess we're speaking on behalf of our listeners that may not understand this, but an acknowledgement, is the acknowledging of the place where maybe your office is or your school is or whatever program you're running, and it's paying respect, really, isn't it, to the people's land that you're meeting on and that you're getting 100%. The wealth from.
So traditionally they're done like with the smoking ceremony, and that the smoke is almost like a natural direct connection to God. So you have to have like humility before the smoke, in a way, and then the smoke, when you wash yourself with it, it's cleansing. It serves to sanctify. You sanctify yourself and maintain a holy and spiritual connection to land and to God, and to, as I said earlier, a reminder that in a way he could have just taken that away, or didn't have to give that. And reminded how lucky we are to live here in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we had a conversation a little while ago about smoking ceremonies, and we covered quite a large narrative of it. But there was one thing that we talked about, the comparison towards Scripture, and see the Bible instructed that in the sanctuary there was a fire, and that was the representation of God. It was also where the sacrifice was offered up. And I remember we had a conversation that in the sanctuary service, that fire was never meant to go out. You could that was God's presence. And just recap that conversation we had about the significance of the fire of a smoking ceremony as well.
Yeah, so I remember saying that day that in Aboriginal culture, I know especially from my country, when I speak, I just know from my area. And in our culture, it was seen as not important, but almost a necessity to have a fire going. And every camp had one central area that had to have a fire maintained always. And most of the yarning circles would have had a fire going certain points, if not all year round. And that was, they used to use those areas to just reconnect back to God. And like I was saying, use that smoke to wash themselves and cleanse if they're having a bad day or a bit of an argument.
So what advice would you give to a non-Indigenous person that wants to do an acknowledgement to country but isn't sure that they're going to get everything right or they're going to offend someone? What little tips could you give? Maybe we've got listeners here that are thinking, I want to do it, but I don't know where to start. This is for an acknowledgement to country. What advice would you give just off the cuff?
I think it would be beautiful to see a speaker doing an acknowledgement and just being even non-Indigenous and just saying who they are, where they come from. And I've actually seen someone do that before after I've done my own welcome to country. And I just thought, it's not disrespectful. That was a real sign of respect. Because the welcome to country, I explained to you one other time. It's the kings themselves that I was talking about earlier, they would have done that to enter each other's country, as that sign of respect to say, am I allowed to come onto your country? Ask for something or serve as a meeting, So it's important that, in traditional culture, they would introduce themselves, and their intentions.
Okay.
So I think if you, introduce yourself, where you come from, and just say that you mean to have, you intend to have a good ceremony, whatever that may be, meetings, even birthdays. I did a welcome to country with my family for my son when he was born.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we did, we danced and performed for our own family, but it was a special thing for us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's rich. That's deep, eh? And it talks about the continuing of our culture moving forward. And talking about that, how do you see Aboriginal knowledge and traditions continuing to guide us in today's world? We live in a very different world than our grandparents live in, and even to that grandparents live in. Yeah, how are some ways that that Aboriginal culture can kind of help us and be a guide today?
Well, to speak from my own experience, having culture in my life has given me an extended connection to the land that I live on. And, I feel lucky and privileged to be born on my own country from like my Indigenous side. Not only that, but being born with the knowledge being able to be passed on to me. I feel like I'm living in such a lucky time because my grandparents, I started speaking, my dad taught me, he was self-taught. They thought it was amazing. They couldn't understand, but they knew that it was important for us to start that. And, they were really proud of us. And I lived for that, having that extended connection to my family. And then I later realized that this, for me, culture is also Christian. And I have an extended connection to God through culture, being able to do my traditions, but also acknowledge God.
Yeah, wow. Wow. What an opportunity that you has been presented before you. Can you think of an example where tradition or traditional knowledge has offered solution to some modern challenges? I know it's a bit of a loaded question, but some of our practices that we've been passed down to us can help us in some of our modern challenges today. Yeah, how would you navigate that?
One word really perfectly describes it, and that's share. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because the way I learnt was through sharing, like you said. Had they not been able to share with me the knowledge, I wouldn't be able to now go on and share with everyone else. I think it's important to remember not only to just share, Indigenous culture and knowledge, but just in everyday life. The moments of life that hold a lot of value to me are when I've given someone something when they were in need. I'm a really big giver, and people that are in need seem to be the people that appreciate it the most.
Amen.
So yeah, sharing, and being able to now share my culture.
Yeah.
Back on and being like a young elder for my people, because like I was saying, my grandparents didn't know how to speak Aboriginal, and in that way they could look up to me and the future generations, that all hope for what they believed as culture wasn't lost. And it can be revived.
Yeah. So in a sense, Javier, you're a catalyst of change. In what you've embarked on yourself, you're a catalyst of change, and you're flipping the narrative and making it proud to be a carrier of your culture, and teaching a broader audience about the richness of the Aboriginal culture. How does that feel to be a catalyst of change?
It sounds big when you say it like that, really, but no, I think have to be modest, and just understand that that's God working through me. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm just happy that He chose me, and I have that knowledge and almost intellect, but the want to chase that dream that he's almost implanted, it just seemed to fall into place for me. And because I've been performing in culture, like up on stage, since I was 6 years old, and been known culture from a young age. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, being able to now share that and how I see the knowledge and the traditions, and I see that it will guide us, everyone into today's world if everyone could have a bit of culture. Because I was saying earlier, saying grace, is that connection and sharing. Like I was saying, big part. So if we share culture together, we have a bigger appreciation for each other.
Yeah.
Like everyday Australians, everyone, they all live in this land. If they know the rich culture and the rich history here, I would hope that they could just feel included in that. Not like that they're on the other side of history or something.
And to a larger extent, I mean, if we're going to talk about welcome to countries and acknowledgements, right? I think that's the hoped outcome, isn't it? Of a welcome to country is to expose an audience to a bigger narrative, a bigger picture about the country they're on, and like you said earlier, the longest continuing living culture. And a welcome to country is like a sneak peek into something that's so rich, Yeah, and so powerful in that, and yeah.
And like I was saying, like having connection, like culture, being able to share, it's given me a connection with my mates, non-Indigenous as well. Like they ask me questions, and from my point of view, they seem to love to have knowledge. They feel like they have insider knowledge that other Australians might not know. And it's because they took that time to listen to what was being shared. And realistically, I got to connect with them too. Yeah. And like I was saying, if we all share culture, we can all connect and have something extra to connect on. Just to reaffirm that we're all, in a way, a team being here in Australia. We're not here to work against each other and build each other up.
Yeah, that's so true. That's powerful.
I think for the future, it'll only leave everyone growing up on strong values. If they can't come to church, at least they'll have their welcome to country, and to me, that's a connection to God. Anyway, so teaching similar values. So
yeah, wow, yeah, and that leads me to the question of looking forward. What do you hope for future generations when it comes to things like truth telling, restoration or reconciliation, and building stronger connections between communities? What do you hope for future generations?
I honestly have some pretty big dreams, or had big dreams when I was younger. I think the way I see it play out probably isn't too, maybe not in my future, maybe a little bit further, who knows. But honestly, if I would be realistic about it, my hope is that all Australians, no matter what their cultural background may be, can one day embrace the rich history of Australia. That we can, as a nation, rewrite the narrative, change the way we view our short history as just Australia. And see, that when the stolen generations happen, it wasn't to breed us out, And really what happened is we were bred in, and now, in a way, everyone can share that culture. If they just accept that, change the narrative.
Yeah. And I guess it's optimism or, looking at everything in a positive way and say, we do have a past. There is a past that happened in this country. And, but that perspective there is breeding us in. We're not going nowhere.
No way.
We're not going nowhere. We're here. And, we are the ones that hold on to this, and at the same time, I think it's good for us not to be gatekeepers of this,
100%.
but to be open to sharing such a brilliant and beautiful history.
Because, like I was saying, Yagara, that's where I come from. That only extends from the mouth of the Brisbane River to the base of the Toowoomba Ranges, and then down the Dividing Range out to Bow Desert Way. In the grand scheme of the actual Australia, that's only a small little country.
Yeah.
So there's so much actual culture out there that I don't even get to experience, just from my family. So even if they get to have that platform and speak about their culture and their differences, I get to learn too. Even having had, the privilege of knowing my own background.
Yeah. Yeah. Powerful. Yeah. There's something about having friends, outside of our family, our cousins, our cultures, and having that bigger, broader view of the world. And that I guess that also helps us to appreciate what we do have, and what we do have to share with others. Yeah, interesting. With your permission, can we go to another level? Can we talk about some personal stuff with you?
Oh, yeah, we'll see. We'll try to keep it, yeah.
Keep it there, and I guess you'll guard me. So I know that you like to express yourself in writing.
Yeah.
And you've shown me a couple of things that you've written, and it's amazing. Honestly, it's amazing how you express yourself with the pen and paper. How did you come about finding that as an outlet to express yourself through writing poems and raps and stuff?
Art in itself is something that I like to allow to flow through me. And when I feel it, I really, get in the zone. And whether it's, painting, drawing, writing, I like to be able to slow down and just focus on myself and get myself out on the paper, or take my time to, express myself. Yeah, and do my art.
Do you think it clears your head?
Yeah, for sure.
Clears that headspace?
So, yeah, you were asking how did the writing side of things come out of it? Honestly, it was probably started having, friendships and stuff in high school, and them having girlfriends and boyfriends and whatnot, and then being the one where they would almost come for like just an extra person to talk to, maybe not even guidance, just someone that would listen. But then me needing a way to get their emotions off of me in a way, I'll use that to express, and I could write them little poems that would help them in their moments. And back to the sharing again, like I like to give, always like to give. But yeah, that's where it really started. So helping people resolve their issues through my art is kind of where it was. I guess because I was helping people, it was easy for me to channel that, channel that flow.
Yeah.
And yeah, once I realized that I was good at writing, I just gave it a go for myself. And yeah, later, when I grew up a bit, times got a little bit harder, understanding, get confused, and being able to write through my depression as a teenager or my sad moments was, really saved me. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And it's a real personal time, isn't it? Where it's you, your thoughts, your hopes, your plans. And being able to channel that into a space, I think, yeah. And I just hope that if we have any listeners and and viewers that are listening and watching to this is that there is always a way out, of depression, always a way out of sadness and sorrow. And we just got to find, I know, pardon the pun, but we've got to find that happy place, and that could be writing, it could be art, it could be something like look for other ways to express.
Just don't miss the call,
Yeah.
You'll have that moment. You find something that you're good at.
Yeah.
Just delve into it.
Yeah.
The more you spend it doing what you love, it's kind of like meditating. And, they say to meditate on the word. So you'll have self-discovery. Just always recommend just go back to the Bible. Yeah. With meditating, always go back to the Bible.
Yeah. And sit in that space,
It's important for self-discovery.
I remember when I was a young boy, you just couldn't, when I say young boy, young man really, you couldn't sit in a space long enough to find the answer. You just wanted to get in and get out and solve the problem and move on to the next one. But I guess maturity allows us just to slow that process down a little bit more and wait for the answer to come rather than speeding through all the wrong choices and the wrong answers.
And yeah, in life, for me personally, I recognized that when I did slow down, eventually it gave me space to read, the calling from God.
Wow.
And eventually, I realized that that's what I would do, just to listen. And I wait for him to guide me. And that's, how I know I'm dependent on him. Yeah. And that's what makes it real for me, the connection.
Brother, that's powerful. So if we could talk about a vision that Javier has, a vision of maybe what young people would look like moving forward, what opportunities would you like to see happen, I guess, in the narrative of vision for young people? What would you like to see an opportunity for our young ones to have in front of them?
So growing up with culture has given me a strong sense of identity, which then enabled me to have self-confidence, resilience, and allowed me to eventually align myself with my own values, my own core values, with my personality and my relationship with God and culture at the same time. So I guess really I feel like my vision is that we as Australians would embrace the culture and then have something to connect on a deeper, more meaningful level. And hopefully that the future generations can grow up on stronger values. Yeah, I was saying that earlier. And I'll just really, it's hard to say, put into words how to describe it, but biggest aspiration is that everyone, no matter the culture background, can feel a part of Australia, through the connection, sharing knowledge, through sharing culture, and feel like they are a part of that culture as well. Because living here, living on the land, if you want to see it succeed, you're as much Aboriginal as me. That was our core values, like I was saying, back to the work in the country, taking care of the land. That's all that mattered. Ensuring that the next generation had somewhere to live, and with the strong values, connection to God too. So yeah, on that, change the narrative. Yeah, rewrite how we see history as Australians. It's not, or I guess it was a negative thing, but we should see it as a positive. Yeah. We shared our black, everyone gets to have a little bit of that now. And, that should be their connection to our culture on the country that we get to share. For me, it would provide a place where we could all live with a greater sense of purpose and community. I'd just like to say, Solomon, he wrote in Proverbs 27:17 that as iron sharpens irons, so one person sharpens another. And if we have something to share and sharpen each other on, then won't we all just grow together as and assimilate, one nation?
Wow, mate. Yeah, I just we can see how well you love writing.
Yeah.
We can see, people have many different ways of getting their thoughts out and sharing that, and I think there's no wrong way. It's your way that works, and that's the beautiful thing about individuality is that's me. You are you, and like you just said with that verse there, we get to strengthen and encourage each other on our journeys. And yeah, bro, man, we could go on and talk about so much more, and I guess there's one more thing that we should probably include, and there's an in-house program that we're starting to develop now, which is we're creating an acknowledgement to country that can be used on a broader sense around our South Queensland churches and schools, and we're going to be filming that on your country with you as our what will you say, as our guest, as our person that's starring in the film, I guess we should say. And the plan is to provide not just a welcome or an acknowledgement, but education behind it. It's not just, plug this in and this is your welcome to country or your acknowledgement. It's more of the story behind the importance of this significant event. And so that's happening soon. So we'll drop that on our socials once it's up and running, and we'll give you a taste of what Javier will be helping us to produce as well. So yeah, anything you want to share?
My final note, I'd just like to say, if we can all just embrace, what it means to have a welcome country, I believe that
go to how you express, bro.
If we can all embrace the welcome to country, and I just want everyone to feel the way that I feel about it. Have that strong cultural identity for future generations. I want everyone in Australia to be proud of where they come from.
Yeah, that's it. Spoken of someone with a heart for others, and I think that's at the core of welcome to country, isn't it? It's not a get out of country ceremony.
No.
I mean, the very name of it is welcome, and I guess that's the gist of who Aboriginal people are. We're very welcoming. Look at the history that we've gone through, and we're still here. And so, that's powerful. So if there's someone listening here today or someone's listening to this podcast, and maybe they're in a situation where they're depressed, they're looking for an outlet, and unfortunately there's always the wrong outlets that we go to. What would you like to encourage someone as finding a healthy outlet? What would you like to say to that person that's listening?
Just like I said earlier, just, take your time to do what you love doing, and just listen to that call. God will let you know if you're on the right path, as long as you take the time to listen. And just be willing to wait, because sometimes it can take a while, and that's the fun, the anticipation, of when he does come and finally speak to you or touch you, and you have that understanding or a new wave of knowledge. Just be patient, take your time, and just enjoy what you love doing, and he'll speak to you when you least expect it.
Yeah, so true. So true. That's when he turns up, eh? No, awesome. Javier, it's been so good having you here as a guest on True Talk. I know that God has so much planned for you in the very near future, and the impact you're going to make, not just in Yagara country, but in surrounding countries around the world. We know that God's got a big plan for you, and we're so glad that we're journeying together in a sense with you there. So I just hope our audience has appreciated the time with Javier here. And if you've liked this this podcast and you've gotten something from it, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with friends. And so thank you so much for being with us. We look forward to when we can sit down again and have another chat. But until then, we'll catch you up.